Hey girl, are your healthy habits all over the place or non-existent? Do you wish you could find true food freedom, move your body for joy, and really just talk a little nicer to yourself? If you have tried to habit hack your health, but the strategies you've tried just haven't worked for you in your busy lifestyle, then this podcast is for you. Hey, I'm Emily Nichols, habit and fitness coach, behavior change specialist, and Taco Tuesday enthusiast. Hey, I am here to tell you there is an easier way than what we've been taught about our health and our habits. How do I know? Well, because I've transformed my own life through habit hacking, and now my family gets the best of me, and I now help my clients do the same. I'm now going to teach you how to create healthy habits in less time, guilt-free for all seasons of your life. It's not your fault your habits haven't worked, my friend. We just have to do them differently. So, are you ready to feel empowered and transform your habits and life? Then let's do this. You're listening to episode 223 of Habit Hack Your Health. Hey friend, welcome back to the show. I'm so happy you are here. And I hope I am able to provide some type of female connection and community for you, because as women, even with a crazy busy life, it is so important. Actually, science confirms that friendships and community are actually good for our health, especially for women. Female friendships, it makes life transitions easier. It buffers the hardships maybe a little bit more, but it also can help lower your blood pressure, boost immunity, and even more. It can actually boost the hormone oxytocin. Female friendships and community can. And as I was doing research for this episode, researchers had a really good analogy that I wanted to share with you. And that was your social thermostat, which is the oxytocin. That hormone helps you feel all nice and warm and fuzzy. And when you can kind of dial in your social thermostat and keep track of how well your female social groups are going. So for example, when you feel like your thermostat is reading low, you might tend to reach out to more of your girls. When the oxytocin levels rise again, that prolonged exposure comes with a distinct calming, warming effect. And I don't know about you, but I know if I have some tacos and margaritas, or really just chips and queso and margs with my girls, that warm, fuzzy feeling is for real when you're done and you've just laughed so hard that your belly hurts. Your face hurts from smiling so much. It's so vital to dial into that social thermostat. And we start craving that oxytocin effect. And I don't know about you, but I have a lot of different social groups that I rely on and reach out to for different parts of myself. Think about the various communities that you're part of. You know, I used to be part of a girl running group. That's how I met some of my very best friends. I don't run as much anymore now just because I'm at a different stage of life as far as health goes, but I intentionally did that to make new friends. You know, I have my Orange Theory group of friends, my Hot Works gang. My family is a community, right? My podcasting group, I'm a part of this little mastermind that I kind of invited other girls to who are podcasting around the same, life stage as me, is the same life stage of their podcast. And it's just nice to connect with each other. There's my yoga teacher training group of folks that are also going through their yoga certification. My best friend, text group, my dog group. Okay. I'm a part of we've made our own doggy text group because we love dogs so much and just send funny memes to each other about dogs. So I'm 42 years old now. And as a 42-year-old mom, I feel even more in tune with my friend groups and even okay with setting boundaries with friends too. But I feel like I've really learned how to tune into my social thermostat and reach out to outside sources, especially the female communities, when I need to dial it up and rely on them to help me have that connection. Friendship, female friendship is actually a fundamental need, right? I talk about movement, food freedom, and mindset. Well, under mindset, one of those fundamental needs, one of those habits can be habits of connection and community. Even though I know you are so crazy busy, you have to be intentional and make it work. And today we're chatting with my friend, Tabitha Crocker of The Present Profitable Mom, all about creating a habit of community and various groups you can insert yourself in order to help you actually feel healthier, feel that oxytocin effect, but also have that connection that we all so crave. I don't know about you, but I can get really deep in the weeds as far as like work, my kids, running them all over place. And sometimes I feel like I haven't seen my girls in forever. I was actually just texting with a couple of my girls earlier because fall break is coming up and we're like, we need to get together, like just us, not the kids. And it's like, yes, it's been too long. Now, we've chatted about community and connection before on the show, but today we're going to put it into action. Of course, we're going to habit hack making community and connection a habit that you insert into your life, but also how to think about this differently and thinking about the various groups you're a part of and how you can intentionally cultivate and create those connections, but how you can insert yourself into different communities as your life and seasons change. The groups I'm a part of now are totally different from when I became a mom 15 years ago. And this is just so important. You're going to love hearing from Tabitha today. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She's a membership coach and founder of The Present Profitable Mom. I was actually just on her podcast a couple weeks ago as well, talking about what else, why women have to do habits differently, and my Atomic Habits for Women philosophy. She's super passionate about empowering mom entrepreneurs to design, build, and scale memberships for sustainable, scalable, recurring revenue, doing work you love in just 10 hours a week. I love that. She's also a podcaster, and she runs her own business and raises her kids with her husband in Alaska, which I think is super cool. I know you're going to love this conversation with Tabitha and just her heart, her genuine heart for community. I think this is a really important conversation as we're getting ready to go into the holiday season. And sometimes, first our health usually goes and then our friend groups. These are some really vital fundamental needs we need to make sure we are making the time for because it's so important for you, my friend. One of your fundamental needs we are going to be focusing on today is community. So make sure to stick around to the end of the episode. Of course, I'll be sharing my 3 biggest takeaways with you. All right, let's connect and chat with Tabitha. And I want to hear what your social thermometer feels like at the end. Let's go. Okay, gang, thank you so much again for tuning in to Self-Transformed. I am so excited for you to talk to my friend Tabitha Crocker of the Present Profitable Mom podcast. Tabitha, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat today.
Same. You are just such a bright light. I was on Tabitha's show as well, and I just love chatting with you. I'm so excited you're on our show now as well. So first question I ask every guest is, what comes to mind when you hear the phrase self-transformed?
For me, it really sounds like, that personal growth of that, it's that consistency over time, that slow personal growth, but then you hit that sort of tipping point where it really all comes together and you make a leap. Like it looks and feels like a leap, but it really came from that slow growth over time.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about because you feel like, oh, consistency. Okay, I'm doing the things. Then all of a sudden you have this breakthrough or big like aha moment, yes. And it all just weaves together and you're like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, or the direction I'm supposed to be going, or this doesn't feel hard anymore. Right. I love that. I love everyone's answers to that. It's always different. My favorite. Well, girl, let's talk about you. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do, who you are, your story really, into what led you into what you do today?
Yes. So I think in a nutshell, my journey has really been all about learning to define success for myself. I started, went to college, like so many of us do, checking all of the boxes in the list. So I got my bachelor's degree in psychology and Spanish and my master's in business. And then, got married. And my husband's a super tall guy from Texas. And then I had my career going on and was, climbing the corporate ladder, and then got pregnant with our son. Was so excited. Always thought I would be a career mom. I loved my career. I loved the challenge and just was really engaged in my work and felt really passionate about it. But then when my son was born, I was like, I don't want to be away from this tiny human. And it was brutal going back to my career full time after maternity leave. And my husband was kind of like, well, we hadn't made other plans. So you staying home is like not really an option. Like you got to go back. And so I was like, okay, fine. But when I was pregnant with our daughter, I was like, I am not going back full time. And so we had prepared this time. It was a deal breaker for me because we had an amazing early childhood education center where my kids would get to attend, but not only would I not be with them, they wouldn't get to be with each other. And that was it broke my heart. And so when my daughter was born, I went down to working part-time, and I had started a blog when I was pregnant with my son. I was just so excited about being a mom. And I was like, wow, there's like this whole club. Like being a mom is like, I don't know. I felt so much more connected to other moms. I had no idea this was like really a life experience that connects you with this community that I had no idea was there because I'd never been a part of it before. And so I wanted to just contribute to it and lessons learned and how can I help other moms go further faster and not make the mistakes that I made. And so I did that for a little while. And then when I went down to part-time, I was like, okay, the blogging hobby is nice, but like maybe could I make this into like a business, a side hustle? How can I actually make money doing this? So then I tried creating digital courses. I tried doing group coaching programs, and there are pros and cons to all of that, but I felt like I never really was getting a lot of traction. And then in October 2020, I was laid off from my part-time job, and I was like, okay, like I feel like I finally have time to try one-on-one coaching, but I found that was really demanding on my time. And even though I was home with my kids, I still didn't want to work 40-hour weeks. Like that was not the point for me. And so I felt like about to give up, honestly, on the online business. I was like, I don't want to work more than part-time hours. And if this isn't possible, then maybe just this having a business isn't going to work for me. I may as well just wait till the kids are in school and go get a real job. And so I tried a membership as kind of a last ditch effort. I was working with a coach and she had one and she recommended trying it. And I was like, well, it's literally the only thing I haven't tried. So, I mean, I don't want to because isn't it like creating a ton of content? And I already struggle to keep up with content, but whatever, I'm just going to give this a try. And then, I mean, it really turned out to be my most favorite thing. I finally got way more traction in my business. I really enjoyed the work. It brought together everything that I had done. It was the coaching. I could bring in the content that I had created and that community piece, which was what I was really craving from the start. I was finally able to get that with a membership. And then, of course, when this made such a big difference in my life and business, now I'm super passionate about sharing with other mom entrepreneurs how they can create a membership in their business in order to give them that kind of work-life harmony that so many of us are craving.
I love that story so much because it's not linear, right? It's very like, well, I'm going to try this. Oh, well, now this came up. Oh, now this fork in the road. Now I'm going to go this direction. And I think that's really important to note, regardless if you own a business or not, like even with just like your health, sometimes the path you thought you were going to go down maybe doesn't work out, or you try a different format, or you try a different business, or you work part-time, or you do this, or you do that. But it seemed like it all really came back to everything that you did, though, came around community and connection. Right?
And
Especially being a mom, right?
yeah, and it's so funny because I think everything maybe looks linear very often for other people, because when you are at a current point looking back, Oh, of course, that's how all of the dots connected. But when you're in it, you're like, I don't see how the dots are connected. So you just have to make the next best choice, do what's right now. And that was something for me in my journey that I really held true to. I was like, I do not want to work more. And so I'm
Right.
like, I
Right.
am not going to go into the hustle, burnout, sacrificing these precious, sweet early years with my kids, even if it's a quote unquote successful business and I make a ton of money, like that's not what I want. That's not my priority. And I completely understand like some of my, mom entrepreneur friends, they have their kids in full-time daycare and they work full-time from home. Like no shade. Like if that's what you enjoy doing, that was just not what I wanted. And so every decision that I made, if it wasn't moving me in that direction, then I stopped and pivoted.
I love that you stuck true to your core values. Like there, you can never go wrong there. You can never go wrong in that regard
Mhm.
for sure. So, well, let's talk a little bit more about community because that is your specialty. And we've talked on the show before about the importance of community and connection, especially as moms. And it's actually a fundamental need, right? We crave
Mm.
connection with other folks. And I love taking this kind of a next step for folks listening and making this into like actionable steps for them. So, as we're thinking about community and being part of a community, what kind of communities could our listeners seek out to help them really just reach their goals, whether that be health, business, parenting? There's so many resources out there.
Mhm.
Where should we start and what kind of communities could we seek out for ourselves?
Yes, I love this question. And it's so fun because I was actually trying to think the other day of how I could do like a reel or a TikTok on this subject and exactly how I literally have a community for all of my priorities. And like that is how I move through my day. So I start my day in my business, which I have communities that I've created and communities that I participate in. And so that is a huge part of what brings me joy. And even just those connections in business is super helpful. I was even thinking too, I have a fractional CFO that I have hired. If you're not familiar, so it's someone who comes into your business and really takes a look at the numbers, helps you with the metrics, and metrics are not my strong suit and not my favorite thing. And so she kind of like, okay, like how can we make this into numbers? Like, what are you doing? How is this affecting the numbers? And we were talking the other day and she was like, okay, well, what are your metrics around people saying yes to the pitching that you're doing? And I was like, well, what do you mean? Because like these are all my friends. Like, of course they say yes. Like, and I joke a little bit because I do pitch people that I don't know at all, but it was just kind of a fun moment of like, this is my community. This is my networking. Like, it's not like I'm sending cold, hey girl, pitch, DMs or whatever. Like, it's people that I know or someone who knows someone that I know. It's that 6 degrees of separation that where we all really, we are so much more interconnected than I think we realize. And the networking is awesome for business, but there are, a myriad of benefits. And I could go on and on about business forever, but I'm going to touch on the other subjects too. So then after I work, I'm a morning person. So 5 to 7 a.m. before my kiddos are up, knock on wood. And then, I have family time with my kids, which in a way, like your family's kind of like a micro community. Like my husband and I have coffee, the kids kind of play, we do breakfast together. And that's a really special time of connection for us. And I have that because of my business. It cultivates that sort of micro community. And then several days a week, I go and I meet my friends to exercise. And not going to lie, I am not one of these people who is like a gym rat. And I mean, I wish I were. I wish I just loved working out, but I do not. I do, however, love seeing my friends. So I'm just like, okay, I'm going to see my friends and I literally like don't even think about the workout, but one of my friends is a personal trainer. So it's like
Totally.
we're
Love
we're
that.
hanging out and we just like happen to start exercising. I'm like, oh, I guess this is what we're doing today. But it
I
just
love that.
it's the encouragement, the accountability, the ability to have someone help you be consistent when you wouldn't otherwise. And part of it is personality type, but like you mentioned, it's really community and connection is a basic human need. So even if
Mhm.
you're introverted, And I actually have a client who's introverted, and she shows up on our Zoom calls and she doesn't turn her camera on. So it's like these little things that you can do to kind of still have that community and not, have to, you can do it in a way that feels good for you and who you are. And then even extending further into motherhood, like really connecting with friends makes motherhood, first of all, way more fun, in my opinion. And you get so many tips and tricks from friends around parenting or even just validation. Like some days are hard, and sometimes we just need to know that that's okay when a lot of times we see, the Instagram perfect, and that can get old really fast when you're struggling and your days don't feel or look perfect. And it was funny. I was at soccer the other day and there was this mom who she literally looked perfect, and she had twins in like the perfect stroller. And then she had two older kids. And I was just like, I don't think I ever could have pulled that off. I mean, even for like getting it together for 3 seconds to snap a photo, like it just, and so we see those things and we think that's life. And maybe it is for some people, but that's not my world. Not most of us, I think. So community can really help with all of those pieces. And then even, extending it further into your marriage, like even talking about friends and making those connections around like what a healthy marriage looks like for different people can help you feel more inspired. Like I have one friend who is adorable and she is super obsessed with her husband. Like it is so cute. I'm like, how are you like this high school like fangirl for your husband? And it's so cute because he's like this video gaming nerd, but she's like obsessed with him. It is adorable, but it always like reinvigorates me because I'm like, how can I like be more obsessed with how awesome my husband is, and just even these little things that aren't quote unquote like, no one really brags about that, but whatever, like it works for us, it's like,
I
so
love that.
yeah.
I love
So
that.
all of these things. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's so many different categories you're talking about here,
Yes.
Tabitha, and based on your personality, maybe it's like in person, maybe
Mhm.
it's an online like Facebook group, maybe it is like, I used to run because I wanted to meet other women. Like I don't even like
Mhm.
running. They've heard me talk about this on the show plenty of times. Like, okay, Emily, we get it. You just ran for like the connection and coffee. Like, yes, that
Yes.
is why. That is
Mhm.
why. But they each serve a different purpose, right? I'm a
Mhm.
part of mompreneur groups as well, or little masterminds I've created of other women who are in similar businesses as me to bounce ideas off each other, because the way they support me, my husband couldn't really support me in the same
Yes.
way. And same as someone, maybe it's like even like you're obsessed with your dog and you're like part of a group that's like other dog lovers and you're meeting up like at a dog park or whatever. But it's so important to insert like who you are into these different groups. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes we have the best of intentions, like we're going through Facebook, right? Oh, I'm going to join this group or that group. But then you don't take action or you're not making connections with people in person. So, how can we actually make connection more of a habit and a daily action to actually find and feel that connection every day and to find that needle moving? Because especially if it's around goals, either if you own your own business or maybe you're an accountant and you're part of like an accountant group that you're all trying to like climb the corporate ladder. I feel like they can help you reach your goals too by bouncing ideas off each other too. So how can we make this a habit though, Tabitha, where we're actually taking action and not just like, okay, I'm part of the group and just like lurking, but like
Right.
actually be an active participant?
Yeah, I think the first piece is to really set an intention. It's kind of funny that I've come full circle on community, and I am 38 and I feel like I have the most friends I've ever had in my life, which is ironic to me because all I wanted like in high school was, I mean, let's be honest, to be popular and have lots of friends. And that was never me. And it's like, as I've gotten older, I think a lot of it was really just the intention to make genuine connections. And when I wasn't being like genuine or I was afraid to be myself, like I'm an Enneagram 2. And so I love helping people. And of course, that's amazing in a lot of ways, but it also has kind of a shadow side where you can be a people pleaser and you find your worth in helping people. And so it kind of can set you up for failure in that way. And so I think a lot of, when I was younger, that's what I was trying trying to make other people happy. I was trying to help people, but then I would kind of sacrifice myself or maybe not be myself. And so a piece of that was really just genuinely being myself and having that intention to really attract the right people into my life. And like I said, I have like the most amazing friends and community now. And actually, it's funny because even my kids go to a school that you only get into if you're part of a drawing. And so your older kid gets in, your second kid gets in automatically. But it's funny because his school, my son's school, has a huge community component. And I was just like, you set that intention, and community is really important to me. So I feel like I've attracted it in every area of my life. But for someone who's new, first of all, setting that intention. And the second of all, being like authentic to yourself. For example, I have like a black thumb. So like I could join a gardening community and like maybe I could decide like that was like my personal growth subject for the year or something. But like I'm probably not going to engage in that community because I don't know. I'm not super interested in it and I'm terrible at it. And it's not authentic for me. Like even my like 5-year-old is like, Mom, like we need to water these plants. And I'm like, whatever, I guess go do it. Like, no, it's not my thing. And so I think, yeah, those two pieces, like setting the intention, being authentic, and then it can really come down to scheduling, which sounds so lame, but it's really, if you're going to make something a priority, you've got to put it on your calendar. So even if it's like 10 minutes a day or, 10 minutes a day, maybe with your social media community, or like 10 minutes a week, maybe in online forums or whatever makes sense for you, to just go in and engage, either see who you can help, which I mean, I just said I'm an Enneagram too. So obviously that's what I do. So that's what I recommend. That's a really great way to connect with people, or ask for help if you need help with something, and just kind of be there and participate. And also, if you don't want to engage, that's okay too. You can still participate by being there. And this is something, as someone who runs several memberships, it's kind of funny because I get a lot of questions about this from my clients as they're building their memberships. Like, I just feel like people aren't engaging, and it is easy to fall into that. And you want to cultivate engagement, sure, but also that doesn't mean people aren't getting value out of it. And so I can't tell you how many times there's been someone who, like, they seemingly come out of the woodwork and I'm like, where did this person even come from? And they're like, oh my gosh, I love your membership so much. And I'm like, I didn't even like know you were, I mean, I see your payment come in every month, but they've done nothing as far as, coming to the lives or those pieces, but they still really enjoy participating in the community. And I think part of it too is, when you're authentic to yourself, it becomes part of your identity. Like, I am a person who runs a business, and being a part of a membership where that is a theme is really just, it becomes part of who you are when you kind of find those communities around your core values and your priorities.
Yeah. I love that. I totally resonate with that. I'm 41. Well, I'm almost 42 now. Sometimes I forget that. Like, do you ever look at, like, do you and your husband ever like look at people like, and like call them a kid and they're in their 20s?
Yes.
Dang, I'm old
all
now.
the time. I'm like, how are you driving? You're like 5. And I'm like,
Oh
okay,
my
like maybe
gosh.
they're 16, but
Well,
it's wild.
my son's 15, so he has his learner's permit, so he's driving us now, and I'm like, this is weird.
Yeah.
How do we have a kid old enough to do this? Goodness.
I
But
bet.
anyway, but yes, I feel like I have the strongest group of friends and diverse friends that I ever had. And that started with setting an intention years ago when I was going through my own healthy transformation journey. Like, part of that was like, I want a friend group that is like, they love to better themselves physically, mentally, emotionally. They're going to do life together, and like, they're down to do like a half marathon or go take like a class together somewhere. And so I intentionally like started in a run group. Like, don't like running, but I was like, these people have to like some of the same things that I like, right? But also, having some type of way to habit hack this. So, is maybe it's setting up some type of cue on your digital calendar, like your Google Calendar, like 5-minute connect time, have that pop up on your calendar that makes sense in the time blocks that you have set throughout your day. to be like, okay, I'm going to hop in this group. And maybe like you said, it's not like, I don't have anything I feel like I want to contribute, but maybe you'll learn something from somebody or find value from it. And I think the next level, even to that as well, Tabitha, is to give yourself grace. Be like, oh my gosh, well, there's like Susie Q posts like every day about ABC, her kid's doing this, or her business is doing that. And you're like, then we start shooting ourselves. And I think it needs to come from a place of like, okay, what, like you said, feels authentic. Don't be posting just to post or connect just to connect. If it's not genuine, if it's really something that you resonate with, reach out, be genuine, be authentic, but also give yourself grace and don't feel like I should be doing this. Do it because it's something you crave and that you're going to see value in it, either professionally, personally, emotionally, spiritually, all the above, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that so much. Well, I'm going to be really like in the forefront of my mind, taking action, making more connections in the groups that I'm in. Because you're right, we do get so busy and sometimes that gets pushed to the wayside. But I know I crave connection. I thrive off of it. And coming from a place of how I can serve and how other people, we can make connections, like everyone wins in the long run. That's for sure. So Tabitha, thank you so much for this conversation. Where can everyone connect with you, find out more, listen to your show? Tell me all the things.
Yeah. So I have a podcast, Present Profitable Mom, and Instagram is probably the main place that I hang out. And my handle is Present Profitable Mom.
Awesome. We'll make sure to link that all in the show notes. Super easy for y'all to find. So right now, before we get off this interview, make sure to go in your little podcast app, find Tabitha's podcast and hit subscribe. Okay. And leave a review if you love her show, which you'll love it. So Tabitha, thank you so much. I so appreciate this conversation and connecting with you, my friend.
Yes, this is a beautiful start to my day. Thank you so much, Emily.
Tabitha, thank you so much for this conversation and seriously, your genuine heart for community. I love this so much. And friends, like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, this is such a true fundamental need that a lot of us sometimes push to the side, not intentionally. I know life just gets so busy, but I hope you have kind of tuned in and thought a little bit about where is your social thermostat at and how can you be intentional with reaching out to various communities to help you fulfill this need. So let's talk about my 3 biggest takeaways from this conversation with Tabitha Crocker of the Present Profitable Mom. Number 1, seeking out communities can actually help you reach your health goals. Yes. Surprise, surprise. This is true. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, it actually helps you with your health because it helps boost that hormone oxytocin. So I think it's more good for your mental health, but lower your blood pressure, give you a boost of your immunity system, all the things. But it's going to really help you in specific ways if you're inserting yourself into groups that are health focused. Right? I know this episode, this podcast is focused around healthy habits. And a habit hack to help you do that is to insert yourself into communities where there are other women who are making their health a priority, thus helping you reach your health goals. I joined a running group because I wanted to meet other like-minded women. Some of those girls that became some of my best friends, we joined Orange Theory together because we were like, hey, let's go to some like really fun classes together. I became a coach at Orange Theory after that. Someone invited me to try HotWorks. I'm obsessed with that now. We'll be going down the path of becoming a virtual instructor again next year. It's going to help you stay consistent, a little bit more accountable, and it's going to motivate you to show up because if your girl is waiting for you to come run at 5 a.m. in the morning or show up to a class and you're going to get a late cancel fee and your girl's waiting on you, you're going to show. So over time, that's going to really help you reach your health goals. You can even think about this differently. If you're like a very new mom and you're wanting to reach your health goals, maybe you work out together like via Zoom. Like seriously, like put a workout on YouTube, get on the phone together on FaceTime or Zoom and do a workout together. So seeking out communities, especially health like-minded women, is going to actually help you reach your health goals. So win-win. Number 2, you have to have intention. You have to have intention and genuine connection. So if I'm saying all this and you're like, I don't want to like be connected. I don't want to reach out to a running group because I totally hate running. I would feel awkward. Like, don't do that, right? Do something that is of genuine interest to you that is going to help you cultivate goals for yourself, but also cultivate connection in the meantime. And it's going to have to be a priority in your life. If you're not making connection a priority, it's not going to happen. And one habit hack that I love to talk about is scheduling it in order to make it a priority. You could simply just at the end of a routine block every day, have a little notification on your Google Calendar, 5 times the connect time, like log into, like turn off your phone, airplane mode, turn it back on, see all the texts you missed in your girl group, send some funny memes, have that connection. You have to make it a priority, because just like your health, the first thing that goes when life is busy is your own health and priorities and connection. It's so important. And lastly, create a habit identity around community. As I listened back to this episode, I think it was really important to really think about your habit identity. So this is who you are, right? Your habits support who you want to be. So you want to be a present mom. You want to be a mom who cares about others, who has connection and friendships with other like-minded women. Well, you have to have habits that support that. And if you're wanting to learn a little bit more about creating your habit identity, this is one of the steps in the Healthy Habit Reset. It's my free masterclass that is like basic habit strategy 101, where you're like, where do I start with creating a habit? Go grab it. It's linked in the show notes, just bit.ly/free reset masterclass. And P.S. we'll be doing this live November 15th. I'm kind of changing up how we do the masterclass live. We do it live every quarter. And I'll explain more in the next couple of weeks, but spoiler alert, I'm kind of changing up the way we do it, and it's going to be super fun. And I'm going to be talking about holiday habits as well, which I'm really excited to talk about. But create a habit identity and include connection and community in there, because friends, it is so important. So where is your social thermostat at right now? Are you like, man, I feel like it needs to be turned up? Get in a text group right now, text your girls, have some accountability, go meet up with a friend, like I said, on FaceTime or Zoom, or go schedule a walk with somebody to help you reach your health goals, and at the same time having connection. Ooh, little habit stacking there for you, my friends. I love it so much. So as we're gearing up into this last quarter of the year, I am cheering you on. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, I hope I am able to be in your earbuds, in your car, while you're doing laundry, dishes, whatever, and feel a connection to me, because I pretend you're sitting right across from me having a cup of coffee or margarita, girl. So cheers. Here's to girl gangs, girlfriend groups, connection, and community. If you want to connect with Tabitha, I'll make sure to link everything Tabitha and Present Profitable Mom in the show notes for you, girl. Thank you so much again for this conversation and your heart for community. Friends, sending you a big hug. I'll catch up with you later this week for Habit Hack Thursday. Hey girl, real quick before you go, did you know I have a secret podcast where I talk all about why most habit strategies don't work for us women? Spoiler alert, it's not our fault. Visit bit.ly/atomic habits for women. It's linked in the show notes to access my secret podcast series and have your biggest aha moment about why and how women have to do habits differently. And if you love the podcast, the number one way you can thank me is to leave a rating and review in iTunes. That way more mamas can find the show. Love and appreciate you, friend. We'll see you next time.